Alright, today we're going to see if we can get this lower unit unlocked. Or at least find out exactly what's wrong with it. Currently, doesn't go into gear, or maybe it does, but something else is seized up. It doesn't spin, drive shaft or prop. So let's see what's going on with it. I'm going to take everything apart here and we'll just have to figure out what's going on. I'm going to try to clean up some of this dirt before I open up the lower unit. Well, that broke off. That's not fun. And so did that. The water pump or the impeller has seen better days. Whoopsie. Yeah, so silly me trying to get ahead of myself. I'm actually glad I didn't get this out yet. I haven't drained the oil out of here. So let me do that first before I make a mess all over my worktop. Alright, let me set this up, get some leverage real quick. Okay, so there's water in there. So while that's draining, I'm going to work on trying to finish getting this out. I'll also take that off. This is pretty well stuck in there, so I'm going to move on and start taking the rest of the stuff apart. I'm going to open up the housing for the shaft, and then I'm going to also take the prop off and see if I can pull the bearing carrier out. I don't want to break off any more bolts. That's just more work if we do get this thing working. So I'm trying to take my time with it. Kind of work it back and forth, but I think I got it. Oh yeah. This lower unit is surprisingly crusty for the, I mean the motor doesn't seem, on the outside, doesn't seem that bad, but inside this lower unit is not good. Crust in there. I don't think there was any oil really, any gear oil sitting in here the entire time it was sitting all those years. Alright, so we move back to the bench. I think it'll be a little easier up here. A chunk of rust on the bottom of this, so so you can see it's brown all on the inside there. Hey, it looks like there's a bit of surface rust all in there. This bearing is frozen. So that's problem number one down here that I've seen. That other bearing that's up front on the bearing carrier is frozen as well. I haven't looked inside the lower unit housing yet, but watch, let's see if this thing turns now. Yep. Well, never mind. Turns more, but not all the way. Alright, I'm going to move that onto the bench so that we can get a better angle at it, and then let's take a look inside and see what we got. So there are two, I don't know if you can see them, there's two snap rings in there. Two snap rings that need to be removed. So I will get those out real quick. I've got a pair of inside snap ring pliers. These are 9-inch. Honestly, you're gonna need a long set. There's probably a specialty tool that Evinrude Johnson makes that I don't have. So in the meantime, I'm gonna use these 9-inch pliers, which barely fit. It's kind of hard to see, but the snap ring is split. So I'm gonna have to replace that. Let me pull that out. There's two in there. The first one is broken. I'm gonna pull the first one out and see if I can get the second one out without breaking it this time. Oh boy. I don't think you could see it, but I'm sure you could hear it. That thing just exploded. These things are dangerous. So that one broke too, and the other piece went shooting off and slammed into something extremely hard. But at least on the bright side, we got the snap rings out. Outside of some rust on here, these actually look okay. Now I need to get the drive shaft out. So the pinion here has a little nut on the end of it there. So I'll put my wrench on that and I will twist the drive shaft to back that off. So I'm thinking it's good news. From what I can see, nothing is broken down here in the lower unit. Everything just had a large layer of sludge and gunk on it, which I think had seized it up and allowed it not to spin freely. But as I was beating around on it, trying to get everything out of it, I did end up freeing up the drive shaft and prop shaft prior to getting it pulled all the way apart. Originally, I was worried that something had broken off and like one of these teeth would have broken off and was stuck in the gears, which was what was seizing it up, but that is not the case. So there's a few parts I need to order. For instance, I need to order new snap rings, and I'm going to go ahead and change the seals on the lower unit while I have it apart. Outside of that, I'm just going to clean everything up and put it back together, and we should be good to go. And we can put this lower unit back on the motor and we can get it running properly. All right, we got our seal kit in. Only thing we're missing is the snap rings, so let's put everything else back together. We'll wait for the snap rings to come, which should come in the next few days, and then we'll put the bearing carrier back in. But we'll be ready for it when that does come because we'll have everything else in. Alright, so what I just did, I just got the pinion back attached to the drive shaft. And now what I've got to do is put the pinion nut on there to keep that pinion attached to the shaft. I just realized here that there's a strip screw in here. I need to get that out. Alright, so this is the cover for the shift shaft. It's been a little bit of a struggle getting, well, I wanted to clean this up a little bit to start out with, but it's also been a struggle to get this O-ring out of here. So the shaft goes through here into the gear house. In the middle of this opening, there is an O-ring, which this one must have been in a bad shape because it's very difficult to get out. It can be, I mean, it's kind of an odd place for an O-ring as far as accessing it, but it's always kind of a pain working with this one, but it's been more so. And finally got it. Forgot that I stripped this. I have to drill that out and tap it. Alright, now we got to punch out these old bearings that are locked up, as well as these seals right here. All right, we got everything back together that we can get together for now. So I'm gonna be done for the day, but we're waiting on parts. We need the snap ring, and I still need to order an impeller or an impeller kit because I forgot that also. All right, it's about a week later, and we got our new retaining rings in. But before we put these in, we need to install this, and I need to get this screw that broke off out of here. Got it. So the seal kit that I purchased for this lower unit came with replacement screws that go into the bearing carrier. So the screws go through the bearing carrier and screw into this. This is what tightens that bearing carrier down. So it'll be inside there, then it'll be this, and that's kind of what keeps that bearing carrier from backing out. So since I got new screws, I don't have to worry about the one that I broke off. That's a good thing. All right, so this goes in first. I'm gonna make sure those screw holes are oriented in the right direction that you want them. Just finished cleaning up all the edges around here. This is where the O-ring goes on the outside of the bearing carrier. We've already replaced the bearings that were bad in here as well as the seals. So just got to put the O-ring on. Thanks everybody for watching. We were able to get this old lower unit that was locked up from sitting for years free and working properly. Be sure to watch the next video. We're going to put it all together and hopefully get this thing running.